Bunny Suit Jim, and I'm here today to show you how to do an RCA clean in the NSL. If you notice, I'm already in my personal protection equipment, which that will be following in a different video. You can refer to the personal protection equipment video. For today, it's just do an RCA clean, which is the RCA 2 part. We have a hot plate, a beaker, hydrogen peroxide 30%, and ammonium hydroxide 29%. I want to make a note with this particular hot plate, you don't want to go over 300 degrees or the beaker will break while you're heating it up. First thing you want to do is rinse your beaker up. That way, if there's any contaminants inside, it rinses into the sink. After we finish rinsing the beaker, the typical RCA is 7 to 1 to 1, meaning 7 parts water to 1 part ammonium hydroxide to 1 part hydrogen peroxide, in that order. For this case, I'm doing 2 4-inch wafers, so I'm going to go right about to 1,400 milliliters of water. This clean is not an exact science. We just need to be fairly close to the measurements. It doesn't have to be right on. Now, before placing the beaker onto the hot plate, I want to make sure the bottom of the beaker is dry, so the water doesn't start boiling and it makes the beaker kind of jump around on the hot plate. At this point, I'll set the hot plate to about 280 degrees, not passing the 300 point. And then I'm going to wipe down this water, because when I leave, I need this to be clean, because I'm the only one that knows this is water. And if someone else walks in, it could be HF, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, it could be just about anything. So at this point, after adding the water, I'm going to add the ammonium hydroxide, not the hydrogen peroxide, and I'll get to that in a second. So that's my 7 to 1 mixture right now, and this beaker needs to heat up to somewhere right around 60 degrees before we add the next chemical. When it gets to 60 degrees, like it is now, I'll add the hydrogen peroxide, and the reason we want to wait before adding that is because the hydrogen peroxide will boil off. Now we're ready to clean. We can add our substrates to be clean. One thing I should have stated at the beginning, this is to clean organics off of samples too. If you're, on a side note, if you're cleaning glassware or anything that's going to take up a larger volume inside the beaker, you want to add that to the beaker first so you don't overflow all the liquid that's inside. After your substrate is nice and clean, you can remove it out of the beaker. Whereas you want to rinse it with a copious amount of liquid, or water in this case. After rinsing the wafer, you need to dry it. The one thing that you don't want to do is just grab the wet wafer with your tweezers, because then you've just contaminated the wafer if there's anything on your tweezers. So what I like to do is take the nitrogen blowgun and just dry one edge of the wafer off. So now where it's dry, as you can see, you can handle that part of the wafer with your tweezers. Then turn it over. Dry the back of the wafer and proceed to place it on the spin dryer, where you can now spin dry your wafer. The wafer comes off the dryer and it's pristine and ready for processing. When you're done, dump the beaker into the sink, never into a solvent bottle. Chase it with a bunch of water down the drain, wipe everything down, and you're all set.